All right, y'all, I just shot this whole video without a microphone, so I have to do it all again. Hey, y'all, it's Amanda, and I'm out on the front porch. We are halfway through summer, and we are in the thick of 100-degree temps day after day. So today, I want to talk about what's wrong with your zinnias. This is the time of the year where your zinnias should be putting on an absolute show, but maybe yours are still tiny. Maybe they're all leaves with no blooms. Maybe they have stopped blooming completely, or maybe they've just died all the way to the ground. And if that's you, and if that's your zinnias, don't worry, because today we're going to troubleshoot the most common reasons zinnias struggle so you can get them blooming again or avoid the same issues next year. And I also broke my microphone on top of that, so I have to hold it. So I feel very, I don't know, bougie holding my microphone like this. So let's talk about what healthy zinnias should look like right now in the middle of the summer. Before troubleshooting, it's important to know what's normal and what's not. So by midsummer, healthy zinnias should be full and bushy. They should have multiple branches. They should be producing flowers continuously. They should have healthy green foliage, and they should be replacing blooms almost as quickly as you cut them. If yours aren't doing that or they don't look like that, let's figure out why. What is the issue? What's wrong with your zinnias? All right, so problem number one, not enough sun. This is probably the most common issue because zinnias require minimum 6 to 8 hours of sun per day, and they mean direct sun. And the more sun they get, the better they will perform over time. So what are some symptoms for zinnias that are not getting enough sun? You're going to see tall, weak stems. You're going to see few flowers. You're going to see plants leaning towards the light, stretching, reaching for the light, and you're going to see slow growth. All four of those are symptoms of not enough sunlight. So what's the fix? Well, you need to plant them in the sunniest location you have next year, most likely. Now, if you're in zone 8, North Texas like me, or in a zone that has a longer growing season, you can still start zinnias. I still have time to start 2 more rounds of zinnias in my garden. So if you feel like you didn't plant them in a sunny enough location and you still have time to grow, go ahead and start another round of seeds in a sunnier location. If you have zinnias in containers, pick up those containers and move them to a sunnier location. If you do not have enough time to start another round of zinnias, make note for next year and make sure you choose an area that gets lots of direct sun. All right, problem number two, too much nitrogen. So this is a big one. If your zinnias are huge, lush, and green, but barely flowering, fertilizer might be your issue. Too much nitrogen encourages leaves instead of blooms, which is very, very important, especially if you're growing zinnias for the flowers. So some symptoms of too much nitrogen: lots of foliage, very few flowers, and thick green stems. Those are all symptoms of too much nitrogen. So what's the fix? Stop fertilizing with high nitrogen products. A balanced fertilizer is usually plenty. But in all seriousness, many garden beds don't need additional fertilizing once the zinnias are planted and established in the bed. I only fertilize my zinnias at the very beginning of the season. I put down a layer of compost or some balanced organic fertilizer, and that's it. I never fertilize them again, and they don't need more fertilizer from me at that point. So keep that in mind. If you are someone who's doing tons of miracle grow, if you're fertilizing all the time and you have these big green lush plants and very few flowers, let's stop on the fertilizer for the rest of the season. Can y'all hear my youngest son? He's practicing his French horn. All of my children play instruments. My house is a literal band hall. Okay, problem number three, you're not cutting them. This surprises a lot of people. The first flower is not the reward on a zinnia. It's just the very beginning. And a lot of us wait and we anticipate that very first flower, but in reality, that first flower, if you wait for that first flower, it's taking away so many other flowers from you. So some symptoms of you're not cutting them is a few flowers at the very top of the plant, long bare stems, and slower rebloom, all symptoms that you're not cutting your zinnias enough. So the fix is to cut stems long enough to reach a set of leaves or a branching point within the plant. The plant will usually respond by sending out multiple new flowering stems. It's so important when you're cutting zinnias to cut them often and cut them deep. Cut them deep into the plant. Make sure you're leaving a good 4 to 6 sets of leaves behind on the plant so that it can create another flush for you. But seriously, every time you cut a zinnia, you're cutting that one flower, but you're making room for 2 more. So keep that in mind. Problem number 4, they were never pinched. Your zinnia seedlings were never pinched. If you grew your zinnias from seed, did you pinch them when they were 8 to 12 inches tall? For me, the answer is almost always no. I forget all the time to pinch my zinnia seedlings, which is very unfortunate because I could have double and triple the amount of zinnia flowers. Pinching removes the growing tip and encourages branching. Branching means multiple more flowers, tons more flowers than if you don't pinch at all. So some symptoms that your zinnia seedlings were never pinched: you're going to have one tall central stem, you're going to have few side branches, and you're going to have fewer flowers overall. All symptoms that your zinnia seedlings were not pinched. The fix, well, it's often too late to pinch mature plants, but remember this step for next season. The difference in branching can be dramatic. So if your plants are mature and too far along for pinching, go ahead and just begin cutting them real deep when you're harvesting the flowers. And that is going to encourage more branching. But definitely remember this pinching step for next season. Or if you're like me and I'm still starting more rounds of zinnias, I have a whole nother pack I need to get planted out there. Just keep an eye on your zinnias, set a reminder for yourself, and make sure you're pinching them when they're about 8 to 12 inches tall. All right, problem number 5, inconsistent watering. And this is a big issue, especially in my area. Now I've got drip irrigation set up, but it's so hot here and inconsistent watering can cause a lot of issues. Zinnias are fairly drought tolerant once established, but they still need consistent moisture to perform their very best. So some symptoms of inconsistent watering will be wilting that does not recover. So at my location, we are in triple degree temps. In the afternoon, most of my plants wilt, and then they recover overnight and are good to go by the morning. If yours do not recover from the wilt, that's a problem. Typically, you're also going to see smaller flowers. You're going to see bud drop where it creates a bud and then that bud dries up, folds over, or whatever, and slow growth, all symptoms of inconsistent watering. So what is the fix? You want to water deeply rather than lightly. So incredibly important. Let the soil dry slightly between waterings and don't let plants repeatedly become severely stressed over and over again. So my drip irrigation is set up to watering every morning, early in the morning for about 20 minutes. Just drip to the base of the plant so that that water just soaks all the way down. Nice deep watering. Now that only started for me, that watering every day only started for me the last week or so. Prior to that, I was watering every 2 to 3 days, 20 minutes, nice deep watering. But that deep watering is so incredibly important. Problem number 6, they're too crowded, and this can be an issue with zinnias. It's tempting to plant zinnias close together, but poor airflow creates a lot of problems and issues down the line for the zinnias. So what are symptoms of zinnias that have been planted too crowded together? Yellowing leaves, powdery mildew, and we're going to talk more about powdery mildew, reduced flowering, and poor air circulation. The fix is to space plants according to that particular variety. Taller varieties often need 12 to 18 inches between plants. Varieties like Benary's Giants need a little bit more space between them. If you're planting zinnia plants, I only like for them to touch or overlap a few inches. If the plants are so close together that you can't see between the plants, that's too close together. Now, everything I'm talking about is in regards to taller varieties. I have a lot of bedding plant zinnias, and I do plant them closer together because I'm trying to create a carpet of zinnias on a space. So what I'm referencing is specifically for taller varieties. Problem number 7, powdery mildew. And this is something I will deal with zinnias in my areas for the rest of my gardening career here. If you've grown zinnias for very long, you've probably dealt with powdery mildew. It's especially common during warm days, triple degree temps, followed by very humid nights or when plants are crowded. So I live in an area where we are hot, 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 triple degree temperatures. And I know most of the nation deals with triple degree temperatures. But the big difference for the North Texas area is at nighttime, it's still 92, 93, 94 degrees. It doesn't cool down at nighttime. A lot of areas in the nation that experience triple degree temps, they have much cooler nights. And so they have a lot better results with their plants. But not for me. It's hot all the time. And that combination makes powdery mildew run rampant with zinnias. So, what are some symptoms of powdery mildew for zinnias? White powdery coating on the leaves, yellowing, browning leaves, leaves dropping from the bottom of the plant going upwards. All symptoms of powdery mildew on zinnias. But what is the fix? Well, there's a few things. You can water at the base of the zinnias instead of overhead watering, and that helps a lot to prevent it. You can improve airflow by pruning or removing some of your plants to make sure the air can pass easily through. You can remove badly infected leaves. You can choose mildew-resistant varieties. Next season, Benary's Giant is an excellent choice. Or you can do all of these things and it only prolongs the inevitable of powdery mildew. And that's where I am at. My goal is always to hold off powdery mildew for as long as possible. But powdery mildew is inevitable. It will occur on my zinnias in the season. And a lot of times it doesn't hit till fall and it just kind of is what it is. And I just kind of like, that's what I deal with. That's something that I'm going to have to deal with zinnias because I cannot change my weather. All right, problem number 8, insect damage. Now, this is something that I don't really stress about. I don't really worry about the insect damage, but I know this does annoy a lot of people. So common culprits for insect damage on zinnias include Japanese beetles. Where they're located, I don't have a lot of Japanese beetles here, but other people do. Grasshoppers, aphids, and for me, spider mites typically tend to be the issue during hot, dry weather. What are symptoms of insect damage on zinnias? You're going to see chewed up leaves. You're going to see distorted new growth. You're going to see sticky residue, and you're going to see fine webbing. That specifically is from spider mites. Now, what is the fix? Well, before you try to fix anything in regards to insect damage on zinnias or truthfully any plants, you want to make sure you identify the pest before treating. You want to make sure that you've identified what the pest is so you know what you're treating before you get started. For me, there's a lot of beneficial insects that are in my garden that will help keep populations under control. And for me, I'm not really bothered by insect damage because I grow zinnias for cut flowers. And so I strip off the greenery, the leaves anyway, and that's where I see insect damage. I strip those off anyway. I'm just focused on the head of the flower. So I don't really care if the leaves get chewed up or not. It's not an issue for me. But for those of you that do have a concern for that, make sure you've identified what pest you have before you begin treating it. Problem number 9, extreme heat. That's what I deal with a lot with my zinnias. This one surprises people because zinnias love the summer. They love the heat. But even zinnias have their limits. In long stretches of 100 plus degree weather, like what we're going through right now, some varieties slow their blooming to conserve energy. So it's important to realize your zinnias aren't dead or dying. They're conserving energy. The plants aren't necessarily dying. They're simply waiting for slightly cooler temps. So some symptoms of extreme heat for zinnias: fewer flowers, slower growth, and smaller bloom heads. All symptoms of extreme heat for zinnias. The fix is to keep watering deeply. Make sure a nice deep soak on these zinnias so that these roots are pushing down into the cooler earth. You want to continue deadheading so you can take any additional stress off the plant. Make sure you're deadheading and be patient. That's super important. In many parts of Texas, zinnias get a second wind as nights begin to cool in late August and September. So what you're wanting to do is just Bide your time, be patient, keep your plants as healthy as possible because another bloom cycle is coming. All right, and problem number 10, you chose the wrong variety. This is an issue that a lot of people run into, but they don't realize it until so much further on in the season. Not all zinnias grow the same. Some are compact bedding plants. Others are bred for cutting and can reach 3 to 5 feet tall. So if you expected giant bouquet stems from a dwarf variety, you'll be disappointed in the end, even if the plant is performing perfectly healthy and performing beautifully. If you planted a shorter variety, it's not going to get those really tall, long stems for you. And a lot of people don't realize that, especially beginners, until they're further on in the season. Now, what's the fix? You need to make sure you choose varieties based on your goal and your needs. Make sure you're reading the packet, make sure you're Googling and doing the research on that particular variety to make sure it's what you want it to be. Now, if you're like me and you're in the North Texas area, you can still plant another round of zinnias. So if your zinnias are not the tall variety like you were hoping for, there's still time. You can still get started. There are also still a lot of planting time for a lot of areas. So go ahead, strip out the zinnias you don't want and plant the varieties that you do want, making sure that they're either tall or short depending on your needs. And if you don't have time to plant another round, you can just make sure that you plan better for next season. All right, so we talked through 10 issues with your zinnias, what might be wrong with your zinnias. But there is good news. So what is the good news? The good news is that zinnias are incredibly forgiving plants. If you've solved the problem and there's still plenty of growing season left, they often reward you with weeks or even months of beautiful blooms. So there's still time to fix whatever your issue was and then be able to still get lots of bouquets of blooms in the future. And if your plants just never performed well this year, don't be discouraged, all right? Zinnias are not a one and done. Every season teaches us something. So make sure you learned something from this batch of zinnias and you can improve on it for next year. I've had years where my zinnias were absolutely spectacular. And I've had years where powdery mildew, weather, and often my own mistakes have ruined the zinnia season for me. But truthfully, in the end, that's really what gardening is all about. That is gardening. It's planting, it's trying things out, taking notes, and learning and improving for the next season. So even if you did not have the most spectacular zinnia season, make sure you take notes. Make sure you remember what you did this season so that you can make changes for the next season. All right, you all. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Zinnias are such a popular flower to grow. I love them. They're cheerful. They're happy. When they grow well, they have amazing results. But when, they don't go well, they can be incredibly frustrating. So I hope this video has helped out some of y'all who might be dealing with those frustrations. All right, before we go, make sure you comment below, drop any issues you're having with your zinnias or any fixes that you felt have made a difference for your zinnias in the past. Also, make sure to include where you live because that's so important because growing zinnias in Texas is very different than growing zinnias in Oregon, right? So make sure that you're including where you're located so those who live in your area can look at your notes and maybe gain a little advice from what you've experienced. All right, you all, and if you're like me and you're on a gardening journey and you would like to do that with some gardening friends, check out my Patreon community. The link is in the video description below. It is the most wonderful group of people, y'all. I am smiling ear to ear because I get to chat with these people on a monthly basis. We do a live together. We chat about our gardens, what's going on in life, and it's really fun. We've all become friends, and I just really, really look forward to it and love it. We also chat online on a daily basis, which is great. We discuss gardening. We discuss what's going on with gardening. We discuss hardships. We do give gardening advice. We share photos. It's great. So if you are looking for a small, intimate gardening community like that, be sure to check out my Patreon group. All right, you all, as always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.